So we continue to see a bit of the economic cycle unfolding. We have an unusually long trough in global trade volumes. This has been going on for quite a while now, that we basically see sluggish global trade. The geographical pattern is shifting a little bit, so we saw some more activity out of Asia and air and ocean freight, but on the other hand, our European business, inter-European trade, continues to be really very weak, and that's obviously a very important market for us. That is across modes that Europe has had a very slow start in 2024.
That's really interesting. Do you see any signs of recovery in Europe? There you go.
Look, we're following other statistics as well. The Purchaser Manager Index has been up in recent weeks, and our e-commerce business, for instance, in Europe, but also across the globe, is actually doing well. So there are pockets of growth where we participate, but the general B2B environment, especially in Europe, continues to be weak.
Can I ask you what you're seeing on freight volumes then and pricing? Because last year you were talking about a year of normalization. What's coming through this year?
So we obviously had this humongous spike during the COVID period, which was a bit of a once-in-a-lifetime event with extremely high rates, a shortage of freight capacity. You remember the issues in the Suez Canal that led to an additional spike. In the ocean freight environment, the world is a different world. Not that we wouldn't have ongoing disruptions. We do have that, the Red Sea being one example of that. But the demand-supply balance has shifted quite a bit, with significant inflow of tonnage over the last months. So in ocean, the supply-demand balance is quite in favor of shippers. That doesn't mean that there wouldn't be interim spikes when there's a shortage of equipment, for instance. So this is an environment in ocean. In air, we see continued demand, especially from big e-commerce platforms out of Asia. So that's absorbing a lot of capacity and stabilizing the market. But the general B2B trade, again, continues to be weak.
I can see air freight volumes rising by 5.1% in the first quarter. Can you just get into the weeds on China at this stage? Because we've been getting a mixed bag of numbers, some of it suggesting a slight pickup out of the Chinese economy, others still suggesting ongoing problems. What are you witnessing in terms of strength out of that Chinese market?
So there's definitely a lot of export pressure in China. We do see that. The domestic market for some manufacturers seems to still be soft, so they are looking for opportunities overseas to export their goods. On the other hand, you have to be careful with the year-on-year comparison. Q1 2023 was quite weak, also when it comes to ex-China trade and air freight volumes. So, yes, it looks good in some ways on the year-to-year comparison, but in absolute figures, also if you compare it over several years, it's rather a moderate outcome.